Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold up. You're telling me there are places out there that will literally pay me cold hard cash just to live there? Like, here's some money, now please move here? What kind of backwards world is this? I'm used to cities trying to keep people out, not bribing them to move in. But hey, far be it from me to turn down free money. As long as it's not in the middle of nowhere, looking at you rural Kansas, sign me up. I'll take sunny beaches and cushy bonuses over sky-high rents and insane crowds any day. And getting paid to live somewhere new, well, that's just icing on the cake. Forget working remotely at my aunt's lake house. Now I can work in Hawaii while collecting a sweet paycheck from the state. Take that sucker stuck in your shoebox apartments. Looks like this guy's got a one-way ticket to paradise. Aloha. The first one on my list is New Haven, Connecticut, which will pay you $10,000 to live there. Connecticut's coastal city of New Haven is probably most well known for being home to Yale University, that fancy Ivy League school. If you don't know, to encourage people to buy homes here, the New Haven initiative will lend you up to $10,000 interest-free to use as a down payment. What makes this cool is, it's not out in the boonies. You're not relocating to central Iowa or something. New Haven is an actual city, not plagued by rampant crime, drugs, and awful pizza like Philly. It also offers free in-state college tuition to any local public high school grad. Not too shabby. Sure, the weather isn't always ideal and taxes are high. But for the culture, food scene, job opportunities, and not being out in the sticks, $10,000 to live in a charming historic city is a pretty sweet deal. If I didn't already live in paradise, just kidding, I'd consider it. The only catch is you have to actually buy a house there. But with that kind of incentive, why not take the plunge? Your future Ivy-educated kids will thank you. Next up is the state of Kansas, which offers $15,000 for new residents in rural areas to live there. Who wants to live in Kansas, am I right? Flat, boring, and in the middle of nowhere. But what if I told you the Sunflower State would pay you $15,000 to move there? Kansas identified 77 counties as rural opportunity zones, where they'll forgive $15,000 of your student loans and give you a 5-year state income tax break if you settle in. These backwater burgs are scattered all over the place, so surely you can find one miserable enough to call home. While Kansas ain't winning any excitement awards soon, $15,000 is $15,000. And it's not like you have to live in a sod hut and churn your own butter. Most of these outposts even have Wi-Fi and indoor plumbing these days. True, Kansas winters are colder than a witch's cauldron in a snowstorm, and summer days hotter than a blacksmith's forge at high noon. But with $15,000 in your pocket, you can afford a few fans and a parka, or use the cash to road trip out of state anytime the urge strikes. So maybe Kansas isn't paradise, but with the state paying newcomers to give rural life a whirl, what have you got to lose? Worst case, you hate it and hightail it out of there after the tax break ends. Best case, you discover the simple life suits you. Either way, your student loans will be ancient history, thanks to the Sunflower State's generosity. What's not to like about that? Next on my list is the state of Alaska. Alaska, man, the last frontier, the frozen tundra, the land of the midnight sun. Come for the scenery, stay for the oil dividend check. That's right, Alaska will straight up pay you to live there. They're so desperate for warm bodies that they'll fork over free money just for calling the 49th state home. If the idea of communing with moose and surviving 6 months of darkness appeals to you, Alaska's got your number. Detroit, Michigan is next. Detroit's seen better days, that's for sure. The once mighty Motor City has fallen on hard times, and they know it. Their solution? Throw money at the problem naturally. Detroit's Lev Midtown program will spot you $20,000 to buy a place in certain neighborhoods. Here's a sack of cash, now please move here and pay taxes. Seems to be the general vibe. At $20,000, that's like half the value of some of those abandoned houses, am I right? If you can handle a little urban blight and the occasional power outage, Detroit just might be your paradise. You know what they say? Misery loves company. And it seems like some of the most miserable places in America are willing to pay good money to get it. There are worse ways to pick where you live, I suppose. At least the scenery will be memorable. Next on my list is Baltimore, Maryland. To get rid of some of the eyesores in the historic parts of Baltimore, the city will actually pay you to fix them up. Honestly, The fact that I have to be bribed to move to Baltimore should probably tell you something about Baltimore. But hey, free money is free money. The city's Vacants to Value program offers homebuyers up to $10,000 to renovate abandoned houses in select neighborhoods. For those more artistically inclined, they'll give you up to $30,000 to convert an old commercial property into live work space. And renters can get $2,500 to help cover their first year's rent. Not gonna lie, parts of Baltimore look like the apocalypse hit. But underneath the crumbling infrastructure are gorgeous historic row houses and a vibrant food scene. Plus, you're just an hour from Washington, D.C. without the outrageous cost of living. If you can see past the city's warts to its charm, Baltimore's incentives might just convince you to give it a chance. Heck, for $10,000, you could at least slap some paint on an old fixer-upper, right? Just do me a favor and avoid anything involving the Baltimore Police Department. I've seen The Wire, and here we are at the state of Washington, so Washington State will actually pay you to live there, huh? Well, color me intrigued. As a New Yorker suffering through yet another frigid winter, the promise of mountains, greenery, and legal marijuana is appealing. But really, Washington wants to bribe me with cold hard cash to move there. What's the catch? Turns out certain rural counties in Washington are offering up to $10K to new homeowners to entice young families and professionals. The state hopes injecting some fresh blood into their small communities will help revitalize struggling local economies. Hey, $10,000 is $10,000. I could deal with a slower pace of life if it means finally paying off those lingering credit card bills from my misspent youth. The verdant landscapes and craft breweries don't hurt either. My only condition is I get to bring my dog. He's not a fan of snow, and I can't subject the little guy to any more New York City blizzards. Worst case, the rain drives me stir-crazy after a year, and I hightail it back east. But at least I'll do so with an extra 10 grand in my pocket, memories of stunning sunsets over the Puget Sound, and a newfound appreciation for what real nature looks like. Washington, you had me at cash incentive. When do I sign the paperwork? This jaded New Yorker is ready to give the left coast a whirl. So there you have it, folks. 5 places that will literally pay you to live there. From the hip coastal city of New Haven to the forgotten wasteland of Detroit, your broke behind could be raking in cold hard cash just for moving. Sure, some spots like Kansas and Alaska might not be the most exciting places to call home. But hey, you can always road trip on the weekends or take up ice fishing if you're that hard up for fun. The point is, you don't have to keep wasting away in your crappy overpriced apartment when there are cities out there ready to fork over fat stacks to get you moved in. So do yourself a favor and check them out. Unless you really love your shoebox studio that much. For the rest of us, there's free money waiting to be had.